Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Football Coin Scouts. I'm joined today as per usual by my colleague Edward.
Good to be here.
Good to see you again. Today we're going to be talking about the Champions League. Obviously we're in the middle of the second day of the Champions League, and I'll tell you, Edward, last night's games and my fantasy team got me drinking. That's why I have a bit of hoarse voice.
Yeah, it didn't go too well for me either. Lost a lot of points because Trippier was on the bench. He didn't even touch the pitch, and Mbappe entered the match, but he did nothing good.
So today we're going to do something a little bit different, just because it's so hard to pick the right players. We're going to try and recommend you some players, and the way we're going to do it is, well, I think we'll just go 8-8.
Yeah, sounds good for me.
We actually chose to pick some players that are free in Football Coin and a few that aren't, so you get the balance of everything. Let's start with the list. Hit me, Edward. What's your first pick?
I put 3 players that are paid in Football Coin.
Right.
3 paid cards. The first one is the player that everybody's talking about. Has a great start of the season. Kevin De Bruyne from Manchester City. I don't like the team, but I like this player.
Wow, is he worth the investment?
Yeah, definitely so. I think so, because in this moment you need to hurry up. Are just 9 cards still available on the market with Kevin De Bruyne, and surely he will be a good investment in the future.
I'm gonna argue a little bit with you.
He's making a ton of points. You cannot bring any argue in this.
You told me earlier, I'm just going to make this public, you said you think De Bruyne would be better suited for another team, not Manchester City.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with that.
No, he's losing his time in Manchester City like Guardiola. It's not giving the trophy that everybody waits in. The Manchester City fan doesn't really receives the Champions League trophy, and it's better for De Bruyne to watch for Real Madrid and go there and play.
But he's like the perfect Guardiola player. He's what Guardiola dreams about at night.
So Guardiola won the Champions League only with Barcelona, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what I remember about Guardiola, and he's winning the Premier League where Liverpool was with his hands full because of the Champions League season, where they won the Champions League, but Manchester City were knocked off by Tottenham Hotspur, who last night suffered a really well-deserved disaster from the big team that is Bayern Munich compared to the
That was a bit embarrassing.
team.
Well,
it was well-deserved because they had a lot of luck in the last season of the Champions League, and they really received what they deserve.
I'll jump right in there, and I'll go with my first pick, just because you mentioned Bayern. Obvious one, a free player. I think you should have him for every match that you can. It's Thiago Alcantara. Like you said,
I fully agree.
no player has his calm, his passing
He's
skills.
the perfect regista. He's a wonderful player.
So he'll get you points through, constant passing, successful passes, assists, maybe even a goal once in a while. I mean, what he did yesterday, just those long passes to Gnabry, those are pure class. So that's my first pick.
He chooses every pass perfectly. So he's the best regista in the world of football right now. It's perfect. He's perfect, and Barcelona again is proving that he's not very inspired in their decisions. Right. They lost Thiago, they lost Coutinho, and they have now in the middle Vidal. So they are sticking with Vidal. They have nothing, and they are relying on the small man Messi, who is a genius, but cannot drag the team to glory alone. We saw him on No Camp last year that he defeated alone the big team that Liverpool has, with superstars like Van Dijk, with Milner, who came back from the death to live another career at Liverpool. But
do you wonder what Paulinho is doing right about now?
He's somewhere in China eating some shu, something like that. I don't know, but I don't think he's playing top level football right now.
Hit me with your second pick.
Yeah, definitely the best playmaker as number 10 in today's game, Felipe Coutinho.
You've been talking my ear off about
Coutinho. Yes, I bought his card right in the perfect moment when he was on low price on the market. I'm so happy. He makes a lot of points, not like other players that don't bring points and they are super extra hyped.
Tell me about your theory about why Coutinho is working so well for Bayern but not for Barcelona.
He has the freedom to run the midfield, the attacking midfield, however he wants. He doesn't have to fit in a perfect team like Barcelona, where you have to stay on the left, not to put your foot on the right side of the pitch where Messi controls everything. He creates for Bayern Munich. He plays for Lewandowski, RB, Coman. Everyone who plays is just served by the master himself, by the Brazilian god Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah, there's little he can't do with the ball. Let me hit you with my second pick. This is a bit obvious, and I know a lot of people are just gonna say he hasn't really proven himself yet. But I'd bet on Erling Haaland from Salzburg. Obviously, he's only played 72 minutes at a time. We're recording this 72 minutes in the Champions League. He scored a hat-trick, but everything about him screams class. So he's a very strong striker, tall, strong Norwegian striker. He's scoring a lot in the domestic league. He's made his debut for the national team. Still very young. Obviously, apparently Manchester United won him. There's still 5 games to go at least for him in the Champions League. Salzburg is a team that wants to grow, and I think they will with Haaland. So I'm saying this might create the difference between your team and a competitor in fantasy football. Not a lot of people are going to choose him. I think he's going to score some more goals.
Yeah, Haaland, it's a forward that has a frame of centre back.
Yeah.
He's huge, almost 2 meters height and 90 kilos.
I read that in the last year alone he puts 12 kilos of muscle on him. So this is a player that will go to the Premier League most likely, and with his winning mentality and pedigree, he should do something special. What's your next choice, Ed?
Yeah, he's Egyptian master himself, Momo Salah. Great player. I love it.
Everybody seems to love Salah. But do you think this year, again, do you think he's still motivated to prove himself?
Why not? Why not? He can make the step to even a bigger club like Real Madrid or Barcelona, but for the moment Barcelona is looking after Neymar. Maybe they are calling him still, come save the team. we need you to be out like 6 months or 8 months. And they bought Hazard, but Hazard now at Real, he needs time to understand the mechanics. Zidane wanting the team.
So Salah is definitely one of the best players in the world.
I must say.
Alright.
Now he's under injury, but on my list would have been also Leroy Sané. God help that he will come at Bayern. We will win the Champions League. And
a Bayern fan.
Yeah, a Bayern fan because of their managerial skills, management, and everything. How they run the team. They buy the right player for the right position. They run things very, very, very well.
Okay, my next pick, I'm just going to tell you my last free player on my list. We're always talking about players that do a lot with a lot of potential, but not about players that do a lot with not that much potential, it seemed. And this is, with all due respect, Kieran Trippier. I'm incredibly impressed by what he's doing now at Atletico, as I was for what he was doing back in England and for the national team. Great warrior spirit. Okay, maybe not great in physical attributes, great in technical attributes, but everything he has, he uses. I think he was man of the match last time around. Obviously just played 1 game for Atletico Madrid, but I think he's proven himself last year for Tottenham. He will continue to prove himself for Atletico Madrid. I think it's the perfect combination of manager and player with Diego Simeone there. And what he does is he plays 90 minutes, he creates assists. He's the wing back that I'd actually choose over Trent Alexander-Arnold and over Robertson. That's how much faith I have in him. What's your next pick?
It's an unpaid card. It's a free card. Best goal scorer of the start of the season in Europe. It's Robert Lewandowski from Bayern Munich. He scores every match. Okay, this guy is a legend.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
He plays, he scores, he wins. That's what you need from a number 9.
At this point, I think it's just stupid
He's
not
a
to
number 9
pick him.
shirt. You have to score every match, and he does that. He does that perfectly.
I told you yesterday that conversation you seem to have with Perisic. So I just sort of snuck that in. Bayern had just scored their 6th goal against Tottenham, and Lewandowski was telling Perisic, "Look, you're not sitting where you should." 2 minutes later, Perisic puts it to Coutinho to Lewandowski, and he scores. So he's a machine, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go into paid cards now. This is one that I'm a fan of. Some will disagree with me, and it's N'Golo Kante. So he is obviously a player that everyone seems to like because of his personality. He's won just about everything at this point, and he's only 28 years old.
Great player.
I think he's gonna become, in
Really
a way, the leader of Chelsea. A silent leader, polite guy. But look at his stats. He's getting better. He was obviously a great defensive midfielder. Very, powerful and dedicated. But he's doing more things now. He's better at passing. He's being given more responsibility. Even aerial duels. He's winning headers. He didn't used to do that. He's obviously not a very tall player either. But I think with Frank Lampard and the confidence he's being given, it's an investment. I think it's a very good one. I'd actually say between Jorginho and Kante, I'd pick Kante.
Yeah.
And I think he won't stop there. I think this is the kind of player that if he avoids injuries, he's going to play within his 30s and still do it at a top level.
Hopefully he will go to Real Madrid to fulfill Zidane rebuilding this team, because Zidane needs time to make this. For Real Madrid, don't throw away Zidane. He will make a good job next season, but he needs some players there.
He is the modern Makelele in many ways. Obviously, Zidane played with him and was a fan of Makelele. So, yeah, I think Real Madrid would be a well-suited team. What's next?
A free card, Joshua Kimmich from Bayern Munich.
Ah, that's interesting.
This guy plays as a defensive midfielder, as perfect as he plays as a right back, as great as he plays. Everything that Bayern needs. He scores goals. He scored last night. He equalized. Great at shooting, good defending. He's getting forward. He has reserves in his lungs. He never gets tired. What else do you want?
Yeah, very good player. Okay, here's my next paid card, and I think this is going to be one you're not going to agree with, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's Roberto Firmino. He's an acquired taste. Let's say that. But why I think he's a good investment. He's playing in maybe the best team in Europe right now, and he's changing the English game. I mean, he's basically a false 9, which not a lot of those in the Premier League historically, not a lot of those. So he's playing between the lines, between midfield and attack, basically creating space and passing towards Mane and Salah. He's what makes that team click. He provides goals, assists, might miss some passes once in a while, but when he does, it will probably end up being an assist. So, acquired taste, like I said, but I think also probably Liverpool, I'm seeing them going semi-finals at least again. So you're going to be using him quite a bit in the Champions League as well as the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a good investment, but we should see.
Right. What's next? What do you have?
Next, it's a guy who needs to stay out of Neymar's path. Doesn't have to go where Neymar goes. He doesn't have to do what Neymar does. It's Kylian Mbappe. So Mbappe is at the point where he's a world champion. He didn't win the Champions League still, but he's banging goals in his best days, left, right, and center. He doesn't have a problem scoring goals. Okay, for the only thing that can stop him from being a great player in the future years is his the way he treats his personal life,
his attitude.
If he will be serious, if he will train, if he will be there, and if maybe if he goes to another team, then you can see him winning the Ballon d'Or.
I agree. I think he could be the next great player. Talking about a player that's just Swiss watch of a player. I'm thinking here, and I wasn't a big fan of his, I'll admit, but I think it's a very good investment now, and it's Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
And why I'm saying this is just, even if you don't like the guy, I mean, his stats for Manchester City are brilliant. He scores pretty much every game he plays. He plays pretty much every game that Manchester City play. Great passing. I think he's the perfect Guardiola player. Actually, I don't think Sterling, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he could reach the same level at any other team. I think he's the kind of player that Guardiola built, and he's a machine. Like, I wouldn't say that about Agüero. I think Agüero could have been a goal scorer anywhere. But I think Sterling, for City and for Guardiola, he's perfect. So if he avoids injury, I'm seeing, if you have Sterling on your team, let me put it that way, you have a good chance of making like a top 10 in a football coin contest. He's that good. He's that constant. Are we down to the last pick, or have I got that wrong?
I have two more picks.
Two more, alright.
And I want to see this player playing in front of Agüero. So Agüero to stay on the bench, and Gabriel Jesus, my pick, to be there in the first team, because we have so much to see from Gabriel Jesus, and Guardiola is denying us that. Yeah.
You keep telling me about Jesus. So you think he's he has the potential of being that classic number 9, technique, power,
clearly, yes,
finishing.
He's very technical. He dribbles a lot. Good. He feels so comfortable with the ball at his feet. He has an eye for goal. He's a great player. But Guardiola is keeping Agüero in the first team, and he's keeping Jesus, like also he does with Leroy Sané. He's keeping them on the bench, and it's not good for young players to stay on the bench.
He's kind of stocking up on talent, not really using it.
Remember the match between Monaco and City, when Monaco had in their team Mbappe, and City was scoring goals with Sané. Mbappe made the step, but Sané stayed on the bench after this match. I said, why you keep Sané on the bench? He's so good, but finally he will go to Bayern Munich and he will score a lot of goals. And Guardiola, maybe he will not be in the Champions League with the team, but I think he will find someone who will take him as a coach to experiment there more.
Right. He needs a lot of free reign to do anything at a club. Okay, so I thought about my last paid card, and I'll tell you, I thought long and hard. This is not necessarily a player I like personally, but I was thinking what's good, value for the buck, so to speak. And right now, I couldn't think of anyone better as a defender than Sergio Ramos if you were gonna go for a paid card.
Yeah, you can say about Sergio Ramos that he's of Madrid team right now. He's the spirit, he's the leader, he's the greatest captain in UEFA Champions League this year.
So yeah, Real are kind of embarrassing themselves at the moment.
Sergio Ramos is an icon.
Absolutely.
Okay, shut up, Van Dijk fans. Sergio Ramos is the man. Sergio Ramos is the greatest center back in the last 10 years.
And just looking at the stats right now, even when Real are playing badly, Ramos is doing great. I mean, everyone talks about Van Dijk's passing abilities. Well, Ramos has 90% or more passing success rate every game. He wins heads, he wins duels, he scores goals, he wins heads that way as well. I think he does not play with more red cards than him, but in a way that's good.
If he cannot stop you, he will break you.
Right.
That's clear. Mo Salah knows that.
That's
he
true.
almost pulled his hand off. You remember?
I do
his
remember
shoulder was,
that.
come here, I will break your shoulder.
So the only thing that could stop him is red cards. But even so,
No.
I think it's
So not
more
even
like
the red card will not stop Ramos. He will still play. He will receive a red
find
card.
your hotel and something bad's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this attitude. You have to be, you have to have this type of character and this attitude. If you are Real Madrid, is the greatest club, as trophies. You have to be a tough player there, and everybody to know that you are the boss.
And I think for at least
Even the
a couple
referee
more
to know
years,
that you are the boss.
yeah, exactly. He dominates the pitch, and for that reason, I think having Ramos on your side, if you're gonna go for all the games in the Fantasy Football Champions League, you should have him, or at least seriously consider him. I think we're down to the last pick, so surprise me. What do we have?
Julian Brandt from Borussia Dortmund. I hope he will play. He will play, and also that he will play where he fits very well in the offensive midfield, and he will not stay on the left side of the pitch. Maybe the Borussia will finally decide to change Favre and bring another coach that will know how to line up players, because I saw that again Alcacer is out of the first 11 and he's starting with Goetze.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something real direct here. We're reaching our end, but Dortmund, are they getting out of this group? What are they doing? I honestly don't see them going further than Barcelona and Inter.
It might because they have some good players.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, they have Torgan Hazard, they have Julian Brandt, they have Axel Witsel.
Good defense, Hummels there, yeah.
Yeah, but it will be tough if they manage to go out. It's because
if they do go to the Europa League, do you think?
Yeah,
they can that's win. A favor to win it.
Yeah, they can win it.
Yeah, definitely.
If they will change Favre, of course, I'm pro changing Favre as soon as possible.
And at the very end, I'm just gonna take the opportunity of mentioning a player I wouldn't pick. So I know I'm surprising you with this one. It's a paid card, but what one I would regret, or maybe I already do regret. It's Thibaut Courtois. So talking about good investments, let's talk about bad investments. Thibaut Courtois playing very badly for Real Madrid. There are a lot of goals going past him.
He doesn't fit there.
So yeah, that be one I wouldn't really recommend.
Can I make a honorable mention?
Please.
So I would like to have a honorable mention that it's Kai Havertz. Bayer Leverkusen is not playing very good at this moment, but Kai Havertz is an exceptional player. I don't know what football coin prepares in the future, if he will be a free steel card or a paid card, but I will have it in my club. You have to have Kai Havertz.
I'm watching.
Yeah, I always said Kai Havertz will win Ballon d'Or. Nobody believes me, but I believe.
And let's see, probably last season he's going to spend at Bayern, so many teams are interested.
Oh, yes, I cannot wait for Bayern Munich to have Timo Werner, to have Kai Havertz, to have Leroy Sané, have Coutinho, Thiago. What else you can want from this team? It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's about all the time we have for today. Hopefully we've given you some tips.
See you very soon.
You can have in your fantasy team.
Yeah, see you very soon, and it was a pleasure to be here again.
As always.